Welcome to this episode of Demystified as we explore home cooking in a modern world. I'm Linda and I'm here with my friend Paul. How are you, Paul?
Another sort of semi-new intro.
And I didn't even say we're going on. I just started talking. So how are you going?
I'm alright, how are you?
Very good.
What's happening?
Well, I went to see a client.
No.
I went to see a client yesterday, and as a little present for actually popping in on my way home to see her, she gave me some very fresh figs.
Oh, I've got some of them at home at the moment, actually.
Oh, have you?
Mm.
I remember when in the good old days when we had Hellenic Republic, and one of my favourite dishes there was the saganaki that had some sort of caramelised, sort of cooked in balsamic or something, figs over the cheese.
Yeah.
And it was just sensational. So simple, just sensational. I look forward to it every time we went. And I thought, right, I've got a bunch of figs now. I've got a little brown bag of figs. Right, I'm going to talk to Paul.
Okay.
So here I am talking to Paul. So I don't know how you cook them, and I don't know what to do with them, but I love everything I've ever had with figs. I'm going to say the obvious fig jam, but even fig jam is really nice, and it's lovely in like a paste with cheeses. But what do you do with yours? And can you help me unpick the fig for the Hellenic Republic, since Hellenic Republic are no longer there?
Well, I've got to say, I don't know the dish, but I've got a vague understanding of why they would do what they did. Figs. Very late in the year for figs, must be said for us, usually. It's because we didn't have the hottest of summers. So figs like really dry hot.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
No. So my figs are really late too. I've only got a little tree, but they're quite late. That said, figs are a really, really one of the off-the-tree sweetest things that you'll eat. Like their sugar content is really high. So if you look at what Hellenic Republic was doing, pairing it with a semi-salty cheese and an acid like balsamic vinegar to temper that sweetness a little bit. So they can be sickly sweet if you add sweetness to them, a little bit too much sweetness to them. I like them I was actually, funnily enough, my partner the other day said, oh, can you do this thing that you used to do? And I used to actually just essentially put a cross in the top of them, so almost cut 3/4 of the way through, and then just stuff a bit of goat's cheese in there.
Oh.
And then wrap the whole fig in pancetta, like a really thin slice of pancetta, just throw that in the oven and roast it.
Oh, wow.
Very simple, but like that was quite nice. So generally I like them paired with savoury things. I like them in a salad as well, but you need something sharp to go with it. So that's why I like goat's cheese with it.
Gorgonzola? Or
Gorgonzola, anything that's got a bit of sharpness about it, because they can be, especially if they're overripe, they can be really, really, really sweet, which is why they make good jams and things like that. I really like them also with almonds. Figs and almonds for me is just a thing that for some reason works. So I like make a very simple tart frangipan base. So sweet crust, then frangipan inside, which is essentially like almond meal, eggs, sugar. It's like a paste, and then you just put a heap of figs on top, stick that in the oven and bake it. Like no extra sugar needed. Really quite good. Grilled figs, it's really nice when you get a bit of colour on them because they've got so much natural sugar in them. You don't have to add anything. And of course, when you create that golden brown, get the Maillard effect going, you get the caramelisation, the sweetness comes out a little bit more if you want that sort of thing. What else do I do with figs? That's about it. I don't mind them just off the tree, but it's not my favourite thing. I like them with something. I think they're good as they are, but it's not like an orange or something, you know, like just pick an orange off the tree and eat it, or you can cook with it. There's a million things you can do with it. I think I prefer figs like they have to have something with them. An orange you can just, doesn't necessarily, I mean, some people will differ. So yeah, that's where I sort of sit with the fig.
Okay, so if I wanted to try at home to recreate one of my faves from the old Hellenic Republic,
Yeah.
short of, writing to George Columbaris and saying, hey, can I have your mum's recipe?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? How?
Well,
Because I'm assuming it was balsamic because of the colour and maybe the texture, but it was just...
Was it
dark.
thick?
Yeah, dark.
Yeah, so it may
Syrupy.
well have been a reduction of balsamic vinegar, and generally a balsamic vinegar, or it might have been, if I'm guessing, given it's George, it might have been some aged balsamic. What it could have also been is Vincotto,
Oh, yeah.
because that's a little bit stickier and darker, and while a little bit sweet, not too sweet. So you could essentially just use Vincotto unless you really want to go down the balsamic vinegar path. Balsamic vinegar, a lot of the time when a reduction is made, and you can buy reduced balsamic vinegar in supermarket shelves these days, they use sugar to thicken it. And so when it reduces, it thickens, and the sugar gives it that nice sheen, and it's super dark, and it's a bit viscous and tacky and all the rest of it. It takes away from the acid a little bit and just makes something sweet again. I'm not a big fan of that. I will generally use something like port or Madeira or something like that and mix that with balsamic vinegar and then reduce them down. So I get the sugar from the port, but it's not as sugary, sweet sugary. Or you just put some balsamic vinegar in a pot and reduce it down until it's syrupy. So there's your balsamic part of it made. But I can't say, like you telling me it was a dark brown sticky sauce ain't helping. But I would imagine it's probably a vinegar and acid of some sort. It could be Vincotto, I don't know. I might have some in there, which I'll give to you.
Well, I was...
anyway.
I meant to bring in the figs and say, hello, dear friend.
The cheese, were they raw on the dish?
No, they were cooked.
Yeah, okay. So I think you're doing two separate things here. I think you're probably cooking the cheese and the figs separately.
Yes.
So figs, keep the slices reasonably thick, because if they're really thin, it's just going to turn to mush. You still want to get a bit of texture from them. So if your figs are really ripe, maybe just cut them in half.
I think that was probably the size that these were.
Yeah. If they're just tender, quarters is fine, but you want high heat. You want to get that cooking done quick, because the longer it sits there and cooks, figs got a lot of moisture in them. Yeah, it'll just turn to mush, right? So get the cooking done really quickly. Don't be shy of oil. Nice heavy cast iron skillet, Doug's fry pan would be good. Get it nice and hot. Vegetable oil. Give them like you would sear a steak, right?
Okay.
So really quickly, get it done. Get them in and out. You don't need to add anything to it. Maybe a little bit of salt once they come out. And then your cheese, very similar, maybe a little bit less temperature. You won't need salt with your cheese. Generally, it's pretty salty. Yeah. And then pile it all on top of each other and drizzle over your hoodad, and away you go.
That was fantastic.
But I don't even know the dish, right? So this is just a guess. But I would say that's probably reasonably close. But yeah, figs, they don't come around that often. And when you go to look for them at the markets, they are uber expensive. Like,
oh, wow.
Even in season, really expensive, because the season is so short. And I would imagine if you're a fig farmer, it is incredibly difficult, because I look at my fig tree and every morning the birds just kill it. Anything that is even close to ripe is just instantaneously gone. So, I mean, you can net them, and who can be bothered, really? Like, the birds have to eat too. So, but what else? Good in an ice cream. So making a fig jam and put that through an ice cream base, that's quite nice. What else? I don't really pair them with fish or anything like that. No, it doesn't really work for me. But as I said, I don't mind them in a salad, but something with a bit of oomph about it, like a bit of rocket, goat's cheese. I'll look for other big sort of sharp flavours to go with it to counter the sweetness. I know a lot of people put honey on figs as well. Yeah, okay, but I just think it just gets a bit too boosted sweetness for me. But personal preference, whatever you like. But they do roast well, but you've got to have hot, high temperature. And if your figs are overripe, they're not good for roasting because they'll
They're
just disintegrate. They'll just fall apart.
So even if you have the goat's cheese in the middle and wrapped in prosciutto.
Yeah, it'll hold a little bit, but if they're getting really, really ripe, you need something that's right on the border of just picked, like just been picked, so you know it's ripe, but it's still it holds a little bit of body. The longer it sits, like a banana, the longer it sits there, the softer it gets. So you just need to find that perfect day, almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. I will.
I'm just trying to think of what else I've used them for before. Yeah. Like I say, I don't generally pair it with proteins as a thing. Goes all right with duck. Is probably one that works. Fruits and sort of gamey poultry, that sort of end of this, not chicken so much, but duck, pheasant, those sorts of things. It works. That will work. Figs will work with that in a sauce.
Okay.
But you're not going to go to that level.
Well, not with these ones. I just thought I'd try something quite reminiscent of sort of times and just give them a go, since I hadn't planned on it. And I thought it'd be interesting just to see.
The only thing I would say to you is just keep an eye on your balsamic reduction, if that's the path that you do take, and taste it before you use it. The reason being is that there is sugars in there. Even just straight balsamic, it will reduce down, it will get sweeter. Just have some lemon juice on hand.
Okay. Yeah. Possible. Well, thank you.
Well, I don't know that I was much help, to be honest.
No, but I've got a direction. I've got a little pathway I can take.
Well, fig jam, as they say, Linda.
Yes, well, I was.
If anyone knows that acronym.
I said it very reluctantly the first time, but.
Yeah, but no, good. You don't see them often, right?
And yet, a lot of people have them in, the neighbours or their own yard. It's, the lady that
especially this area, right? Where we live in an area which is predominantly probably European.
Yeah.
You would suggest back in the days when all the houses were built, and there's some big old fig trees around here. There's one next door to me which is massive. I don't know why the birds don't go there rather than come to mine. But anyway, but there's a lot. You're right. There is a lot of them. Every house that I've lived in thus far,
has had
since
one?
I've moved over to the northern part, has had a fig tree in it.
Well, my client that I saw, her landlord gave them to her, and he has a big fig tree in his house in Ivanhoe, which is in sort of the northeast. Yeah. So but she had a big bucket, and I thought, ooh. So.
You kind of got to want to use them quick, unless you're going to make a jam or a roulade for your cheese or whatever.
Just had memories of it, of driving back from her place to my home last night, and I thought, I remember that dish at Hellenic Republic, which is now a completely different restaurant, and but that was one of the faves there.
Well, you don't pay your staff, you lose your restaurant.
Well, we're not going there. Yes. Well, so thank you for that on figs. It is a little known sort of product. I don't think we've got really anything in our suite on cooking with steam, do we?
Well, I'd have to go back through. I'd be surprised if I haven't done some sort of fig tart, but if we haven't...
with a salad, or maybe in a salad, but maybe not.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll have to... if we haven't...
That's a good... maybe there's some...
Just... Thanks for giving me more work to do, Linda. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It is my
got nothing better to do with my time.
To think about how to annoy you during work hours. I could bring in my figs.
What are you gonna cook with them?
Well, I might just hand them over to you.
Yes.
And you could use them for some videos, and then see how they go.
Yes, but. Yeah, figs. Figs and almonds is probably my favourite. I like figs and almonds. Figs, almonds, and probably goat's cheese. I don't know why goat's cheese, but goat's cheese is very specific. People love it or hate it, but with figs, for some reason, it works really well. And look, in essence, if you wrap that in cured pig, it's not much better things. There's a meme or a text going, or a message going around on Instagram that just says bacon fixes everything. It's like the super glue of the kitchen. It kind of is.
Well, there you are. I'm glad I brought it up because there's something that you and I have never actually discussed, I don't think, before.
Bacon.
No.
Figs. Yeah. No, I don't think we have.
So there you are.
Nice one.
Well, thank you for that.
Pleasure. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No. I like the intro too.
Well, caught you by surprise.
Yeah. It's very formal though.
Well, I'm just trying to
You're
be
trying
a
to
little bit
suck in
professional.
people that
I'm just trying to be a little bit professional,
yeah.
but...
everyone thinks, oh, this is going to be quite good and interesting. It's serious people talking.
And then we
hear
start.
This drivel.
I know, then we start. Well, thank you for that, and so take care.
You too.
And enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes.
For everybody else out there, thanks for listening and happy cooking.
See you later.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast as we explore home cooking in a modern world. We'd love you to subscribe, and for more information, please go to our website, cookingwithsteam.com.